Hare Krishna. Continuing on the 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, I'm going to cover two verses which are of a different vein than we've been going through up to now. We've been hearing from the Gita in regards to its instructions on spiritual life, philosophy, yoga. Here's something which is a little more to do with the nature of the world that we live in, the world that we see, and particularly how the Vedas and the Bhagavad Gita describe the world, see the world. And you'll see that the information I'm going to share with you is in quite dire contrast with the information that we glean at school, particularly in relationship to time span of when the world came into being, how long human beings have been on this planet. But let me start with the 16th verse of the 8th chapter, which was called Attaining the Supreme. And here, Krishna says, Abrahma bhuvana loka punar avartino arjuna mamu petya tu konteya punar janmana vidyate. He says, from the highest planet in the creation down to the lowest, all are places of misery wherein repeated birth and death take place. But one who attains my abode, O son of Kunti, never takes birth again. Here, Krishna is talking about the general nature of being within the entire solar system, the universe beyond that. And he says that wherever you are in this universe, and the implication is that yes, there are other places to be. Living entities live on planets other than ours. Now, despite the fact that we're looking for human form of life, or life that is similar to ours on other planets, the Bhagavad Gita and other Vedic texts share with us knowledge that there is life, not only on other planets, but on every planet. The nature of that life may be different than life as we know it, but then what we know of life is only as much as what we know. And despite the fact that university professors may not like to hear it, there is knowledge beyond what we know and beyond what we think reality actually is. Now, what is common to all of these places? The life forms may be different. They may have greater or lesser abilities and potencies, and I'm going to share that with you in the next verse, but they're all places of misery. And what are two factors of misery that Krishna names here? He says, Punar avartino arjuna, repeated birth and death. Punar janma navidyate. People take birth and they die. And in between that, what happens? They get old, they get sick. Sure, they enjoy, but they also suffer. So in the overall scheme of things, they are considered to be places of misery. For that reason, going to the moon, going to the Mars, and going to other places beyond that is a waste of time. You can do it with spaceships. Yogis do it with yoga siddhis, or their own powers. Krishna says it's a waste of time because you're going to suffer there also. Why not look for a place where there's no suffering? And then now he gives the alternative. And what does he say? He says, but one who attains to my abode. But there's another realm, beyond the realm of the material, which is characterized by that it's created, and at a certain time it's finished, and then it's recreated again. He says, there, no one takes birth again. So once you go there, you don't take birth. And Bhagavad Gita says more about this, but now I'm moving on to the next verse and just reading the translation. By human calculation, 1,000 ages taken together form the duration of Brahma's one day, and such also is the duration of his night. Now, this is really quite technical information, and as I mentioned, it's not about yoga, but it gives very important information. First of all, those of you who do know about yoga or are connected with Indian culture know about Brahma, who's named as the creator. And sometimes there's this concept of Trinity, Vishnu, Brahma, and Shiva. Vishnu is the maintainer, Brahma is the creator, and Shiva is the destroyer. And the often misinformation is that they're sort of equal entities. Well, they're not. Vishnu, which is another name for Krishna, is completely transcendental. Brahma is a living being like we, who is material. He has a material form, and therefore the limitations of matter. And Shiva is in between the two. He's both material and both spiritual. So he's spiritual and material together. And he is the destroyer. Therefore, the supreme of all of them is Vishnu, and Brahma is considered to be the creator. He creates under the direction of Krishna, and this is the truths that's found throughout all of the Vedas. Now, how long does he live? So he lives like we live for approximately 100 years. I mean, we live approximately 100 years. He lives exactly 100 years of his life, of which there are 365 days in his year. And his year is like this. So it gives you an idea of the scope or the length of the duration of the universe, and also of the time scale. And there's a similar distance. It's not in the Bhagavad Gita, but other Vedic texts talk about distances, which are much different than what our science informs us of. So he says 1,000 ages taken together is the duration of Brahma's one day. And similarly, 1,000 ages is the duration of his life. That means 2,000 ages. Okay, now, what does an age mean? So an age is, excuse me, an age is a combination of 4 different sub-ages. And you may have heard of some of these. There is the Satya Yuga, and that Satya Yuga lasts for 1,728,000 years. That's when meditation was actually in practice. The Treta Yuga, the next age, is 1,296,000 years. The third one, Dwapara Yuga, which is a real decline in virtue and religion, and vice increases. That lasts 864,000, and we are in the Kali Yuga, which is half of that. So altogether, that's 432,000, out of which 5,000 have already passed. It's good information. So when you add that all together, that means that you have 4,320,000 years is one age. And there's 1,000 such ages times 2 in Brahma's day. So just to save you the arithmetic, 311 trillion, 40 billion years. That is the life of the creator. That's also the duration of the creation. And I leave you with that because there's no such duration of time that's either in the conception of science or perhaps other religious knowledge. And the basis of the Vedas is Krishna himself, it's the absolute. Therefore, we accept this descending knowledge to be perfect and complete. And as you can see, it's very accurate. There's no approximations here. And it's like this, or I think this, or I think that. There is no I think in the Bhagavad Gita. There's just, it's like that. Why? Because it's like that. Hare Krishna.